Growing up, I had always wondered who my biological father was. Of course, my mother was no help at all. Because every time I would ask her who my biological father was, she'd get all upset and say, "You're better off without that man in your life. Now I'd rather you not ask me this silly question again. Do you understand?" So, I would tell her that I understood, even though I was only a young child at the time, and I didn't understand how my mother could be so bitter towards me. Was it my fault that my biological father had walked out on my mother, or did my father do something to offend my mother? Well, my fascination with who my biological father could be only grew with each year that passed, and my mother repeatedly tried to get me to believe that I was better off without him and without knowing who he was. "You'll really be better off if you don't seek your father out," my mother said one afternoon as we were sitting in a booth at our favorite diner. "Mother, please. Doesn't every child have the right to learn who his or her biological father is?" I asked. "Amelia, please. You really do need to stop with this fascination of yours before you get yourself caught up in one of your father's harebrained schemes," my mother said, shaking her head in disagreement. After that I decided to take matters into my own hands, and since my mother wasn't going to answer my questions, I turned to someone who I'd figured wouldn't deny me the answers I was desperately looking for, my mother's elder sister. My Aunt Stacy. "Big mistake. Your old man isn't worth the kind of trouble you're going through to find him. Now quit this nonsense before you end up 6 feet under, Leah." Well, Aunt Stacy seemed to hate my biological father just as much if not more than my mother did. So, for several weeks I let my Aunt Stacy and my mother think that I had let go of the idea of finding out who my biological father was, when I was really watching their every move with the help of some well-hidden nanny cams and listening in on every one of their conversations with well-placed and hidden microphones. "Amber, she's going to find out about her father sooner or later," my Aunt Stacy said one morning, "even if she isn't trying to find him." "Stacy, that man lied to me," my mother said, her voice turning sad and tearful. "Why do you think I left Vladonia's royal court?" "Amber, I know he hurt you," Stacy said, her voice turning gentle yet sad, "but the truth will come out sooner or later." Neither Stacy nor my mother spoke about my biological father again after that day, which only sparked my fascination for finding out who my biological father was. Well, the weeks passed by, and I kept an extremely close eye on my Aunt Stacy and my mother, but the last thing I ever expected was for a strange man to show up one afternoon. "What do you want?" my Aunt Stacy asked. "I should have you know that you aren't welcome here, Henry." "Stacy, please. I never meant to hurt Amber," the man replied. "Now can't we just talk about this?" "I clearly don't see how." "Let him in, Stacy." "It's all right," my mother said. So, my Aunt Stacy let Henry in, and the room fell silent. "You're looking well, Amber," Henry said, being the first to break the silence. "You are too," my mother said. "Why are you here, Henry?" Stacy asked. "Well, the truth is, I was wondering why you left court so suddenly, Amber," he asked. "As if you really don't know how much you hurt my sister with your lies," Stacy says bitterly. "I beg your pardon," Henry said. "I never lied to Amber." "Hogwash," Stacy yelled. "You did to lie. Didn't he, Amber?" Henry turned to face my mother, and all my mother could say was, "Yes." "What did I lie about?" he asked. "Your marital status, for one," Stacy said furiously, "and the fact that you said nothing about already having 2 kids. Amber, is it true that you were pregnant when you left court?" he asked, changing the topic. You should go. My mother said, getting up from her seat. But is it true? Yes. My mother screamed. Then I want a DNA test done. Henry said firmly. Since when do you have the right to make such a request? Stacy asked angrily. It's fine, Stacy. My mother said, I'll get the DNA test set up. But you should leave, Henry. Fine. But the child will be coming with me, if the test comes back positive for a match. He said, getting up from his seat. Just get out. My Aunt Stacy shouted. And with that he left as strangely as he arrived. Thank you all so much for watching. I will be uploading videos for Chapter 2 just as soon as I feel ready to do so, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. See you all next time.